Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to take a look at the theme decks from Unified Minds. Now, we have a couple of shout-outs here. First of all, thank you to the lovely Matthias Salim, who did send them to me, not in English. I apologise. For personal family reasons I can't get into, I was not able to do these videos when you sent them to me. I do apologise. They've since been revealed in English by the lovely Yeoman You, but please make no mistake about it, Matthias Salim was the first person to send them to me. Thank you very much indeed, chaps. So, with apologies out the way, let's take a look at them, shall we? And we know that they are both Dragonite and Necrozma, so let's start off having a look at the Dragonite. Now, the Dragonite itself I like quite a bit indeed. Now, it is the one that is coming out in Unified Minds, and it's got an ability that says once during your turn, you may attach one lightning and one water energy to your Pokemon in any way that you like. It then does 170 for 4 energy discarding 3, which is fine. Great for non-GXs, not great for GXs. It is a decent Pokemon that, especially with the new GX, I think is going to be pretty gosh darn good. So yeah, I like the whole Dragonite thing going on. But the other real headliner here, there are 2 Pidgeotto. Now, I've been giving love to whoever's designing these theme decks for a little while now, because they keep putting stuff like that into the decks. There is a Pidgeotto, which I'm assuming is the really, really good one from Team Up that lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand and one on the bottom of your deck. Now, it is actually a full line that has Pidgeot in as well, but that's not really the point. You've got the 2 Pidgeotto. That is absolutely brilliant. Now, we do have here just a couple copies of Lantern, a 2/2 line of Lantern. Now, the theme decks don't actually say which version of it is. There isn't a Lantern in Unified Minds, so the 2 options we've got are the one from Lost Thunder and the one from Celestial Storm. I'm assuming it's the one from Lost Thunder, lets you put 4 item cards from your discard pile into your hand, or can do 50 damage plus Confusion. That's alright. I mean, look, it's not the reason you're actually going to play the card, but still, kind of cool. I'm alright with that. We've then got 2 copies each of Tornadus and Thunderous. Now, these are from Unified Minds, and they're pretty gosh darn fun. So, Thunderous here, for 2 energy, does 20 damage, but 70 if you've got Tornadus on your bench. And then Tornadus does, for 3 energy, 80 damage, and 20 damage to all of your opponent's bench Pokemon if you've got Thunderous on the bench. All these new Pokemon, incidentally, I have done videos about, so I will pop links to those videos in the description, so if you wish, you can go and learn more about those cards. And the other 2 attacks on them aren't good. But in terms of just low, colourless energy, decent attackers, working well as a pair, having 2 of each of those is pretty gosh darn fun. And then there's 2 copies of a Alolan Grimer. I actually love that they're putting a Alolan Grimer in this particular set, because a video I never got round to doing was the best cards to use in a pre-release for Unified Minds. Incidentally, pre-releases are essentially over now. There were too many new cards revealed. Let me know if you still want to see that video. I've got it planned, I just never got time to make it. But the Alolan Grimer for 0 energy draws 2 cards. It is an absolutely wonderful option to use early in the game in a pre-release. Or indeed, if you're playing a theme deck. So I actually love that they've put 2 copies of this in there. Now, in terms of the supporter line here, we've got 2 copies of Bug Catcher. Now, this is a new one we've not had before. It was a promo-y thing over in Japan. And you draw 2 cards, flip a coin. If heads, draw 2 more cards. It's not amazing, but certainly in a theme deck context, it's alright. 2 copies of Cynthia, however, is far better than alright. 2 copies of Cynthia is brilliant and wonderful, and we love it. Now, the good news is, in this deck, we've got a couple of options for getting energy back. We've got 1 copy of Energy Recycle System, 1 basic energy from your discard into your hand, or 3 into your deck. And we've got a copy of Fisherman here as well. Remember that the Dragonite we're looking at is Well, it's one of these ones that just attaches from your hand, so you want to get energy back into your hand. Oh, look, these will help you out. We've also got 2 copies of How, which is fine, and 2 copies of Lily, which is really good. Between Bugcatcher, Lily, Cynthia, and How, you got decent draw here. But Lily and Cynthia are real staples in a lot of decks at the moment, so really nice that we're getting them in here. 2 copies of Pokemon Communication is great. That's going to be a staple in a lot of decks post-rotation. Let's use all the Pokemon in your hand for 1 in your deck. It's going to be really good. 2 copies of Pokemon Fan Club. It's alright for searching out your basics. I'll be honest with you, right? It's not going to see a huge amount of play because we've got other options, but it's still pretty nice and it will see some play. And we've got Tate and Liza, which is also a pretty good draw card, which sees play in a bunch of decks. Can also act as a switch. Speaking of which, we also play switch. And then in terms of the energy, we've got 9 water and 11 lightning. Again, it's a Pokemon that attaches from your hand, and it attaches water and lightning. Obviously, you're going to be playing a mixture of both. So the Dragonite, I love the Dragonite itself, but having the 2/2 Pidgeotto is great. 2 each of Thunderous and Tornadus I love, and in terms of the trainer cards here, if we only look at the ones that are basically going to be staples or near enough post-rotation, we got Cynthia, Energy Recycle System, Lily, and Pokemon Communication. That's pretty gosh darn good. Moving into Necrozma, it obviously is the Necrozma from Unified Minds. That's kind of the whole point. And it's alright. 30 damage for 2 energy, reduced damage done to you by 30 next turn. Or 2 psychic, 1 colorless, 100 damage. If you have any special energy attached to it, you do 60 more damage. Which means that, at least for the first time I can remember, they're actually giving us special energy in a theme deck. They are giving us 2 copies of Weakness Guard Energy. That is the one, it's a colorless energy and it takes away your weakness. Because you've got to give us special energy, because you cannot make a theme deck with this Necrozma without special energy. That would be frankly cruel. 160 then is pretty gosh darn good. And the best thing about this deck, you get a 2/2 line of Malamar. Malamar is one of the very, very best cards we've got in the game at the moment. Once during your turn, you may attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. It's brilliant for energy acceleration. It is going to be the basis of one of the, if not the best deck post-rotation. I am absolutely certain of that. And getting 2 copies in this theme deck is brilliant. Hats off to the people designing it. 2 copies of Gumshoes, I'm assuming is the one from Unified Minds. It usually is if there's an option. And the Gumshoes here, 2 energy, 90 damage, but 30 against an EX or a GX. Remember, these theme decks are often designed as if they're going to be playing each other, because they often are. So 90 for 2 energy is good. There will be no EXs or GXs in a theme deck format. So I kind of like chucking that in here. That's a cool little inclusion. We've got a 3/2 line of Silvally, which again I'm assuming is the one from Unified Minds. 30 damage for 2 energy plus 50 more for each prize card your opponent took on their last turn. Or 3 energy, 120, discard an energy from this Pokemon. So again, a decent attacker for colorless energy, bearing in mind you can use Malamar to accelerate the energy, and that's going to make this Silvally way better. 2 copies of Ordino I absolutely adore, because once during your turn, if it's your active Pokemon, you may draw a card. That's amazing. That's really, really good. Now, getting it in and out the active regularly can be a little bit of a pain, but I still love that you've got a little bit of draw power here. That makes it quite a bit better. Speaking of draw power, we've got a couple copies of the Dedenne, which is another one that I absolutely adore for pre-releases. For 1 colorless energy, 20 damage, draw till you've got 6 cards in your hand. In this deck, it serves the same purpose as a Alolan Grimer does in the other theme deck. So I like that we've got a little bit of symmetry between the decks there. We've then got 2 copies of Mesprit. Mesprit here, for 1 psychic energy, search your deck for 3 basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. It's nice for getting it set up. Might be a little bit slow in some decks, although I could see this seeing play in a bunch of really competitive decks post-rotation. It's good for getting you set up. It's good for turn 1 when you don't have any good attacking basics. But here it's going to be great for getting your Necrozma and your Malamar out. And then finally we've got 2 copies of Tauros, who's just a generally alright colourless attacker. 1 colourless energy, search for a basic, put it on your bench, not as good as Mesprit. 2 colourless energy, 60 damage, 10 to yourself. It's alright. It's not amazing, it's fine. So once again, we've got a couple of really nice options here. It's a decent Pokemon lineup. In terms of the trainers, once again, just like in the previous deck, we've got 2 Cynthia, 2 Hau, and 2 Lily. And even if Hau isn't your bag, and, you know, how can it really compare to the others? But 2 Cynthia, 2 Lily is brilliant. 2 copies of Mysterious Treasure is great. Discard a card from your hand, search for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon. It's going to be a staple in every Psychic or Dragon deck post-rotation. Great that we got a couple copies here. 2 Pokemon Fan Club is fine, as we said. 1 Switch is fine. 1 Tate and Liza is fine. And then we've got 2 copies of U-Turn Board. Lets you retreat for 1 less energy, and if it's discarded from play, put it into your hand. Really, really good with Ordino here. So I love, and this is what I like about these decks being put together. They've got the Weakness Guard energy for Necrozma. They've got the U-Turn board for Ordino. They're built to work. No, they're not going to compete against Regionals winning decks, but they are so much better than they used to be. I mean, in Necrozma here, we've got the 2 Necrozma. The 2-2 Malamar line is amazing. I love that we've got 2 Silvally in there. Couple of Mesprit, couple of Ordino. It's really nice. And then again, we've got 2 Cynthia, 2 Lily, 2 Mysterious Treasure, and 2 U-Turn board. All of which are going to be staples in a lot of decks moving forward next format. These are good. I really like these. For a little while now, these theme decks have been really good. No, you're not going to pick them up and win a regional with them. That's not the point. But what you are going to do is pick them up and get a bunch of staple cards that you are going to play in, hopefully, your regionals winning deck. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the new ones that we've got. Those are the theme decks from Unified Minds. I would very much like to know what you think about them. If you're going to get one, and if so, which one, or maybe both. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen, but do please remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.